of service that you have is this linked to the show up, linked to the do it, allows you to walk into Clint Eastwood's world, into Milos Forman's world, into Antony's world, into Lear. It allows you that extreme flexibility to show up and do that. Whereas, you know, the wonderful people like David Fox, and I'll put myself in the category, we have limited ourselves in a way that you have not. And that's part of the brilliance of what you've done. And why it's never been, I gotta emphasize it again, it has never been done before. And you've cut a new path with what can happen with Canadian actor. And it's really remarkable.
I've learned everybody's vocabulary. So that when I went to movies and television, I came to it late, I picked up cameras. And I asked some people, well, what would you do? And one guy said, well, look, I use a Leica, and it's got changeable lenses. If you figure out what the lenses are doing, you know what the storytelling is, because you know how wide it is, you know how much is in, so you know how much acting to do or not do. So I bought the camera, and I saw the lenses, and I saw the frames, and I saw what was being excluded. It was just as important as what was being included. And I saw brilliant actors, and I talked to them. How did you do that? Why did you do that? Well, that's a 50 mil at 10 feet. Then I talked to camera ops. I always talk to the technicians and the cinematographers. I make friends with them. I go, why are you doing that with the light meter? Why are you pushing the film that far? What's happening? I just finished a film with Clive Owen that was directed and written by a brilliant guy named Andrew Niccol, who did Gattaca, who wrote The Truman Show. Brilliant. But Amir Makri, his cinematographer, is responsible for my jeu, for my character, because his lighting is so meticulous and so careful is his composition that I know the method to my method acting is to stand where the light is beautiful, because the way he sculpts in this particular noirish, exacting frame, who I am is going to be defined by how I sit in the frame. So negative space is important. Desaturation of colors is important. All of that factors into how I project my character, or how I don't have to, because that part's done for me. So I learned their vocabulary in order to try and be part of it. And occasionally I go, you know, I may be slightly OCD, and I may be enthusiastic. I have enthusiasms. I am, you know,
really?
a little bit, you know, precise about certain things, only a handful of things. Some other things I don't care about at all. I'm very flexible and fluid, and filth can coexist with me sometimes. But, you know, knives, cameras, text, so certain things, no. And my wife would say, please don't be set pal. And I want to be set pal. Set pal is, I know how that cable's out of place. I know that this frame is, if I see something wrong with your costume, I'll fix it. If I see something wrong with your hair, I'll fix it. If I see something wrong with that take, I'll fix it. Because I don't want to waste a moment, because I know it's time, it's money, it's film. Right. And some of the movies I do still work on film. It costs a lot to process. And I work in movies that cost $350 million to make and movies that cost nothing to make. And the same principles exist. And the same, you know, trajectory for all of the professionals involved. We are collaborating on one 35 millimeter frame of film or equivalent. And so if I know why it took 2 hours to light, I'm going to be very respectful. I'm going to know my lines. I'm going to know my stuff. I'm going to probably know your stuff. And I'm going to be there ready to get us home early or get us an extra take. Get us that one that nobody paid for. That's something extra. Eastwood, John Woo, Michael Mann, Sidney Lumet. I've done a couple for some of these guys. You know, not to mention the Canadians. I mean, brilliant, brilliant people. And I asked them, how come you're so good at this? Why do you shoot the rehearsal, Clint? Well, because I don't do a lot of takes, and you knew it when you auditioned, because I saw your audition tape, and it had the 4 pages of text, and I knew the camera crew that he used. I met on the set in San Bernardino. I went, Tom, cinematographer, Tony, his camera guy. We'd done The Exorcism of Emily Rose in Vancouver so many years before. I said, okay, you're going to Steadicam through this, through 300 extras, once the train comes in, so we can shoot the rehearsal, because I know what is required.